Welcome back, everyone. We are going straight into the game. It is Diabolus versus F2K MyWay on game number 1.
All right, as expected, Mage Warlock here from Diabolus, and on the opposite side, F2K MyWay, that jungle, the Feral Hunter Discipline Priest. They played phenomenal games in the Mage Lock so far. This could be their final test. They could play Spoiler and prevent Diabolus from getting a top 4 position and qualifying to the finals, where there's even more prize on the line. So F2K MyWay, it's basically just out for blood here, and Diabolus are fighting for the qualification lives.
Let's see if Diabolus can stay alive or if F2K are going to be playing spoilers here. We got Jungle versus Mage Warlock. And F2K, they have a pretty interesting way of playing this matchup. This is kind of a counter matchup, a lot of people would say, but F2K have managed to beat it in the past by just basically staying back. Hydra just playing maximum mana efficiency, and then later trying to find a double drastic death kill on the Warlock. So we're gonna probably see everybody kind of just going whatever is nearest the pillar. We're gonna just open up, try to do some damage, and we're gonna see a trap. It's gonna get dispelled here by the imp onto Clyde, and now we can expect the jungle to kind of just pull back. Tony's gonna use all of his interrupts and then try to make his way back to the pillar, trying to escort Casu here. Tony basically a getaway Ferrari here for his team at this point.
I like that. Hydra throwing out mind control is super effective, but that Shadow Fury, great synergy there. Elu and Mercy, Shadow Fury into a full polymorph, Hammer of Justice on Casu. These are the setups you'd love to see while watching Mage Warlock. And Elu is playing Fire. A lot of the teams have opted to play Frost against Jungle in particular, but they've always seemed to make it work. And unfortunately, the trap doesn't land on Gelu, but it just gets singed off immediately. So kind of double insurance there. Gelu, he goes for the 50-50 just by standing on Clyde. If that 50-50 doesn't work, then they always have the Imp to spell as well. So great plays by Diabolus will free them from crowd control. And then F2K MyWay is still just looking for these big all-in one-shots. Very hit and run focused is their strategy. So they're going to be looking to line of sight, then push in with a huge hit of damage. If it doesn't work, they're going to be retreating to the pillar. And it's just going to be a rinse repeat. And we'll see if they can actually pull it off.
Yeah, well, they're going in for that hit. They're going to have to navigate through Greater Pyroblast, Chaos Bolts, and Fears. So it's a very dangerous gauntlet that they're looking to push forward through. Pre-freedom on that stun by Clyde. Nice play. That means the trap gets singed off. Absolutely guaranteed. Excellent plays on him on that Paladin. Nice punish on the Dispel, trying to get that Hammer of Justice. Unfortunately, I believe Hydra's playing double Dispel, so able to get around it. Now they're retreated back to the pillar for now. Hydra's maintaining his mana. I want to see those mind controls start coming in clutch from Hydra. As we saw that in previous series with Mage Lock, but at the moment Diabolus are actually on a defensive position. I almost think that F2K MyWay should take this pillar away from Diabolus and try and use that, but Hydra gets interrupted midfield. Casu gets feared off into the distance. Tony's already ran away. Casu gets rooted on his disengage. Nice conflagrate timing by Mercy. That's allowing a Greater Pyroblast to connect. 2 Greater Pyroblasts to connect. Hydra's trying to heal with just Smite. Actually using Shining Force on the Hyena, knocking Mercy, maybe trying to get him into a bad position, but not able to get him in too bad of a position. Blessing and Protection get a trade here for Clyde. F2K MyWay are showing signs of life. I mean, developing this much pressure on a Mage Lock before dampening is promising.
Yeah, and let's see if they can keep it up. Another trap gets singed off. Divine Favor. Boom. Yellow's full HP. And here comes the Greater Pyroblast onto Tony. But a nice grip there by Hydra is going to pull him back to safety as well. Healers are basically tied on mana, but Clyde has the freedom to drink whenever he wants pretty much. Whereas Hydra is not going to have that same luxury here. Casu going in, and Tony and Hydra are not on the same page there. Casu, he's going to get a few Greater Pyros to the face. He feign deaths the second one there. He's only going to hit by the first one. Nicely done there by Casu. Ooh, Shining Force onto the Warlock. He gets knocked a little bit deeper on the map here. If Hydra can go for a mind control, this would be a fat play here, but unfortunately for him, he couldn't get there in time. Still, good pressure though. They stopped Clyde from drinking with that little push there. The Hyena is getting spam crowd control. You can see Yellow just nobodyed right there to buy Clyde some more time, but so much damage coming in here onto Mercy. He's going to get that divine, that Hand of Sacrifice, and now Clyde wants to push in here. You have to use his cooldowns, and here we go. Full Hammer of Justice onto Tony. Hydra's going to Trinket, dispel that one, instead of using Tony's Trinket there. Excellently done, but now they're going to have Gelu's Combustion and Mercy's Dark Soul not on the same cooldown here as Hydra's Trinket. Gelu, though, might be in trouble here if this trap doesn't get singed off. Then it actually gets trinketed by Clyde, so they do get a trinket back on the side of F2K MyWay, kind of evening it out a little bit.
You know what I noticed, and you'll probably notice it too, but they're actually using the Hyena to Shining Force, so they're actually putting the Hyena in front of Mercy and then using it to knock him back into Hydra, Tony, and Casu. So nice plays there by F2K. Let's see if they can continue to make plays like that, because they're getting basically full advantage of that Shining Force without really compromising their position. So I really like that strategy adaptation. Clyde now with no trinket, no sacrifice. There is an opening here for F2K. Gelu is looking like he wants to push in, maybe find some crowd control. He's actually playing World in Flames and Flame Patch, but he hasn't casted one yet. I wonder if he's trying to just like hide it. He's not trying to reveal that he has all this like AoE for later on in the game when dampening ramps up. Because he actually hasn't casted it a single time in this matchup so far. They're making a little bit of a hit here onto Hydra. Let's see if they can get any damage rolling. The Hammer of Justice out of the Ring of Frost. But it looks like Hydra will be completely fine. And Clyde, at some point, I think he's going to have to sit down for a drink. Beautiful pet control here by Casu, really utilizing that Hyena to its full capabilities in this matchup, denying these drinks. Shadow Furies come in, 1 Flame Strike comes in, 2 Flame Strikes come in. And for F2K MyWay, they definitely don't want to be grouped up, especially as dampening gets higher, as that damage starts really adding up.
Big push here by F2K, trying to blast down Mercy. They don't land the trap, though. Sacrifice will stabilize. Greater Pyroblast from downtown there. Tony's on the run. Casu looking to line of sight. 2 Greater Pyroblasts channeled out by Gelu. Gelu moves in on the left. Mercy on the right. Gelu blinks in to go for a Dragon's Breath. They punish with the stun. Gelu breaks out immediately. They're going after Hydra. Hydra trading Pain Suppression. But it wasn't Combustion, it wasn't Dark Soul. That's quite a hefty cooldown for only a Hammer of Justice. If Clyde can reset that Hammer of Justice with some Ineffable Truth and some Judgment, I think that Hydra could be in a lot of trouble, potentially even dying through his trinket if he's not careful. Full Freezing Trap on Clyde. Nice pre-freedom, though, guaranteeing that the imp singes off. He's gotten really good at getting these Blessing of Freedoms active during that. His mana's not too great, though. That could be problematic. Hydra's in a ring. He's got Hammer of Justice. They could swap to the healer again, but they're going for the Feral instead. The bait and switch, triple crowd control, Chaos Bolt's being lobbed out, Pyro connects, Mortal Coil follow-up, beautiful setup by Diabolus here. Looking to take game 1. Tony denies the kill for now with that Frenzy Regeneration timing and Survival Instincts. Shadow melding at Greater Pyro, stun locking the mage, jumping over to Clyde. No freedom, it's a 50-50 dice roll. They lose the 50-50. But he actually trinketed anyway, it looks like, so they did manage to at least net a major cooldown from Diabolus. F2K MyWay now at 12% dampening. Still holding strong on mana.
Very, very nice push there from F2K MyWay, and they're actually in a mana lead right now, so let's see how they play this. Hydra, look at his positioning. He's line of sighting Gelu on the poly, then he goes to Mercy. Now he's going to try to prem the Fear. Unfortunately for him, he does get caught up in the Fear. Into the full Ring of Frost. Tony now in a full Hammer of Justice. He's going to tank 1 Mortal Coil out of that as well. He's going to Trinket and use... actually, he didn't use the Survival Instinct. He just trinketed out of there, and he's going to be completely fine. And now actually looking to get aggressive. Gelu casting a few Greater Pyros on Hydra. Chuke's going to connect. Nice Chaos Bolts as well here from Mercy. Hydra deflecting there. Nicely done by him with those shields, and he is going to stabilize. Clyde is looking for a drink, so that means F2K MyWay, it's time to start pulling out the damage. They knock him with the Hyena. Mercy completely exposed here, but it is actually Tony who has to run, and once again, Gelu faking out Hydra's premonition, but he gets feared there on the polycast, and now Tony realizing that Gelu could be a problem. Gelu's actually going to trinket here, and he's going to go for the Blink Sheep here to land it. Use this trinket to get this. Tony pre-walls the Hammer of Justice. Excellently read there by Tony, and now Hydra is the only viable target here for Diabolus.
Ooh, Gelu goes for a Greater Pyroblast, gets denied. Good interrupts there. 20% dampening. This is where the game starts getting really unstable for both these squads. Casu taking big Chaos Bolt into the Mortal Coil. Just absolutely obliterated. Beautiful setup there by Diabolus. The Combustion, the Mortal Coil, just a perfect combination of damage. And Diabolus will claim game number 1. And I don't know. I mean, that game was looking heavily in favor of Diabolus in that game number 1.
How do we feel like this is looking for the rest of this series here then, Fen, for F2K MyWay? Are they going to just lose 3-0, or is there going to be something maybe they could figure out here going into game number 2?
I mean, you can never really count this team out.
Yeah.
The burst damage that they can put out, it makes it so the result, really anything can happen. But I feel like with the way Diabolus is playing this, how well they're playing both defensively and offensively, there isn't that many openings. I mean, Clyde's mana wasn't great, but I feel like at every point in the game, Diabolus had some sort of immunity or major defensive cooldown that was going to make it so they couldn't go down. And I just think Diabolus, the one thing they do great is they actually find their win condition. Like, they make sure that they're constantly finding these setups, finding this pressure. Gasu gets Dragon's Breath into the Mortal Coil, and Hydra just has really no time to respond, unfortunately. Great job by Diabolus. I feel like that Dragon's Breath into the coil was really what sealed it, because if it wasn't a full lockdown, he could have used the aspect of the turtle, he could have used Exhilaration, and he would have ended up surviving.
All right, going into game number two here. F2K MyWay already down 1 game. What do you want to see from them, Supatees? What could they possibly change up if they want to try and tie it up here against Diabolus?
I mean, it's just one of those things where like they can get the smaller map pick and try and win with that as an advantage. The knockbacks will be easier to kind of secure because you don't have to push so far forward out into the open field. But because they didn't win the first game on the Grand, that means that they have to win a swing match, and the swing match is going to be on Tolvaron. The swing match is going to be on Ashamains, and they only have this comp. So they have to basically play a game for 15 minutes straight perfectly, bank on the most miracle moment where they like knock the Warlock out of range of the Paladin, land the root and the trap, win the 50-50 where the Imp only dispels, and like kill in that split second. I mean, this is... I don't want to say entirely unachievable, but it's pretty close to impossible.
Do you think Hydra should play Kultiran?
Yeah, I was actually thinking that. What if they just all played Kultiran? Like, and they just knock and put the Warlocks
Is it
into their
DR at all?
room.
Imagine they
I don't
set up
think
like
with
a chain,
itself.
like a line of knockbacks.
Oh,
Like,
man.
they use the Shining Force on the pet, then one of them punches into the corner, the other one, you know, they could get him in the starting room, isolate him.
Yeah, it's like frisbee golf.
Something.
Okay, so a game.
And Mercy is the frisbee.
What about? I mean, F2K MyWay. You're right. They're primarily a jungle team. We've seen this matchup a few times, Mage Lock versus jungle, and it just seems like in general, it's just kind of a difficult matchup on the side of the jungle team, Ben.
Definitely. I mean, we've seen jungle struggle against Mage Warlock, and it got even worse when all the Mage Warlocks started playing with a Paladin. So, definitely unfortunate for F2K MyWay, but I don't expect this team to give up. They're going to be trying to battle it back with their jungle setup. This map, I'm not sure if I like it. To be honest, they don't really have line of sight they can fall back to. You like it?
Well, no, I was.
What do you like about it?
No, it wasn't the map specifically. I was thinking about like what they could change, and like when I talked to Dilly, and he was telling me like, no, there's no way you could play Diamond Dice. It's not good. But I swear, because the Paladin can't heal at all when they're crowd controlled. So at least Diamond Dice is guaranteed crowd control as opposed to your normal freezing trap, and you just stun into Diamond Dice. That gives you a clear-cut window where Paladin can't do anything. And you get some
You give up
uptime
at talent
damage.
or something? Is that why you can't use it? Like,
You do, but I feel like, is he running Conflict anyway? No, he's running Breath.
You have to give up Spiders.
You have to give up Spider Sting, yeah. You need Roar Sacrifice or you're going to die to Combustion. The Feign Death is really good. Like, you just remove all the dots on Ignite, or you just use it on
you were going
Chaos
to say
Bolt.
OP.
So it would be Spider Sting. In this case, it's really busted. Spider Sting is the only thing, which, I mean, I think I talked about trying to maybe silence the Imp on your traps and then maybe use it to silence a caster outside of your traps, but I personally would like to just see stun Diamond Dice and attack and see if that's enough crowd control or not, because they haven't tried that.
Could F2K MyWay maybe reorganize their build a little bit on their side and maybe go
Wear full Gushing Wound, all three of them wear full Gushing Wound and play Diamond Dice.
Okay.
That's what I want to see at this point, having seen the matchup enough times.
What do you think about that, Zika? Should they run full gushing?
Maybe not the Feral. Maybe not the Feral.
I'm gonna say no. I think Kasu can run the most amount of gushing, but I don't think he can run like a super high amount as well, just because I think Even Kasu, when he's standing at the pillar applying his poison, like he actually does take a lot of damage, especially when he goes in to get those traps. So even last game, if he had a bit more Versa, he probably could have survived long enough to use some of his cooldowns.
If Kasu had more Versa?
Yeah. Last game he was playing...
we need an
he was playing
offense
some
game.
Versa,
We
but
need an offense game.
He was
just
playing 50-50 last game.
We don't have enough data. We need a full offense game where all three of them play offense and play Diamond Eyes, so they have guaranteed crowd control, the most damage they can possibly do. We need a data point. Like, does it work at all? Because no one's tried it. And then if it doesn't work, okay, fine. But do you really want to play a 15-minute game here and then just go to Tolvaron? I mean, it's not... I would much rather try it. You got Runes of Lordaeron. It's a really fast map. And go for that guaranteed crowd control, try and max your damage, and see if you can kill the Warlock.
All right, well, we'll see if F2K MyWay can turn it around here. It's Diabolus up 1-0 in game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. This is going to be one of those matchups where F2K MyWay, they have to play incredibly patient. We'll see if they go with Sid's strategy and
they're not
throw
going
in
to.
full... They probably won't. You're right. We all know it, but it would be fun, right? Oh, they might actually just go after Clyde in this matchup. Maybe they're just going for an all-in strategy. Incredibly risky as you leave Gelu and Mercy open, but maybe it'll pay off for them. Blinding Light out on a Hydra. They're going for a big all-in push. Who are they going for? Gelu gets the Ring of Frost. They're actually spiting Hydra. Uh-oh. Hydra's in trouble. Let's see what they can get done. The full Hammer of Justice does land. Do they have the claws? Big Greater Pyroblast lands. Immortal Coil. Hydra gets stunned on his trinket. I don't know if he's getting out of this one. He's trying to run. He's trying to hide, but they get a lot of... They didn't actually... I mean, they got the trinket. It wasn't actually that bad. I mean, it seemed a lot worse than it was. Hydra trying to line of sight, and I mean, he didn't have to use that much. Just trading out the trinket for all that, I feel like that's okay.
How many people use Spite there? I feel like I only saw one.
Might not have been 3. Oh, big guidance device. Clyde gonna sacrifice. I say big, and then Clyde immune the damage, so it didn't hit for the damage it would have hit for. I don't think it was 3 spites.
They
I
have
think
3.
Maybe it was only 2 on the ground though.
I just playing
Mercy.
Max Corruption as well, so
I mean, these are gonna be...
could really work.
They're just gonna go for a swap here. The Clyde's chasing Hydra. He's gonna be worried about getting Psychic Screamed. He gets Psychic Screamed. Can they punish with this?
Wants to blind
They
him.
might be able to. Clyde's still chasing Hydra. Hydra's trying to avoid him. Clyde gets right on top of him. They're getting ready for the Blinding Light. There it is. There's no trinket this time. They Divine Shield aggressively. They need to get all 3 spites down. That's a full polymorph. They spell steal off that Master's Call. Hydra's Corruption is going to be absolutely maxed out here. I don't know if he'll live through Pain Suppression. He needs to use it. He uses. I don't think he's going to. It's going to be really close to get any damage out during this high corruption moment. They Mortal Coil him. Penance gets Counterspell. Pain Suppression's over. That Corruption is maxed out. He's just hammering out Shadow Men to try and stabilize, and surprisingly wasn't that overloaded on Corruption. F2K MyWay, I mean, that was supposed to be the checkmate position, and they don't close it out, and now F2K MyWay are getting aggressive.
Well, he actually used his Wrathion Cloak right there, so that's why he didn't end up going down to anything from beyond. Mind Control onto Clyde. There's still an opportunity here. Gilla's looking for some polymorphs. He wants to put the team on his back, but I don't think they have the spites here, and he might get kicked by Tony. He gets the full sheet, but I don't think they have any spites right now, so they're going to be forced to going after Tony here potentially. Greater Pyroblast coming out. He gets interrupted, and now they kind of have them here in the room, though, which is not a bad position to potentially spite a target. But right now, Hydra is on full VR here for Sheep, so he's going to cross the map, try to get away from that room. Gets a fear on the way onto Clyde, but nice sacrifice there from Clyde. Going to make sure that he stays alive. So for this next setup, Hydra has no cloak from Wrathion, but he does have his PP trinket. So most likely, if he gets spited, he's going to have to immediately use that. And right now, he has to avoid Blinding Light from Clyde and Polymorphs from Gelu. But Clyde has to avoid a big chunk of damage here, but nice peels from Mercy, nice peels from Gelu. He's going to allow it, and maybe a Dragon's Breath cheap coming out here. No, Gelu gets interrupted on it, so not going to be able to find it just yet. They're still looking for those spite setups, but honestly, it's not looking great for Diabolus so far. They have no more cooldowns left on their pile than just a trinket. He's going to go for the Blinding Light. He fakes the Premonition. He gets it. Spites are being lobbed out. That's 3 of them. Gelu not going to be able to find the Sheep here. Master's Call's coming out, and Mercy goes for the Mortal Coil, but Hydra is out of the spites here, barely getting any stacks, and another push there, getting interrupted here by F2K MyWay as they look to actually take control over this game.
I mean, Diabolus, the spice strategy is not really working out too well for them so far, but the thing is, you only need one good spite attempt and you can close out the game. Unfortunately, that last one was really, really botched. That was good denial there by Casu, by Tony to really help out Hydra. Now they get a full polymorph on Hydra. Looks like they're actually just going to be going after Tony. Gelu looking for a greater Power Blast. Can he find it? A full fear on Hydra. If he trinkets, there's always that kind of checkmate situation with the spite, so he has to be very careful with his cooldowns, making sure he doesn't waste them, but Clyde, his mana is evening out with Hydra at this point of the game. His cooldowns are rotating back up. Diabolus, although the spice strategy isn't working out great for them, I still feel like they have a really fair shot in this match.
Let's see if they can keep it up here. Mana slightly in favor of F2K MyWay prior to dampening. This one could be closed out quickly. Combustion and Dark Soul are available for the side of Diabolus. That's a big threat. A big punch that could be pulled at any moment. Curious to see when they decide to pull the trigger. Clyde is positioned in the back line, perhaps waiting for another swap. I'm curious to see how they want to do this. Maybe a defensive spite? Mercy's in trouble. Guidance device crits big onto Mercy. Clyde gets dispelled out of the freezing trap, trying to clutch out some heals. Hydra's and Apolly, they're going after Casu. Casu retreating back to the pillar. Mercy getting shut down. Tony repositions. Clyde's getting on top of the priest here, looking for a Hammer of Justice. Not going for it just yet. And they do knock Mercy and Gelu away from standing right on top of the jungle here. Demonic Gateway placed in aggressively. Diabolus are definitely experimenting in game 2. Dark Soul fades, bash on a Clyde. They're pushing. Will they get the kill here? They drop the Trusty Gath. Clyde trinkets and uses Sacrifice. That stops the kill for now, but I feel like Diabolus are running out of cooldowns, and they're running out of mana. If F2K MyWay can keep up this momentum, they're looking good for game 2.
Yeah, and right now they need to try. So that MyWay, they have to go. He actually gets dispelled on the hyena, and they send it back to the room. Excellent pet control and excellent dispels here coming out of F2K MyWay. And now Clyde is boom, but he does have some cooldowns to work with here. Mercy still has his personal cooldowns, but they don't really have Infernals or Dark Soul to really stop the jungle in their track. You get a full trap here. Where is the Singe? Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get it. Pre-Vitality Conduit, though, they here onto Tony, actually onto Katsu as well. As you can see them ducking back to the corner. Gelu looking for more damage, trying to sheep Katsu here behind the pillar, but he's not going to be able to. Just going to slow down this next push, which could happen at any moment. No Vitality Conduit for Clyde for a little while. Mana is not looking great, and I think Diabolus, they just need to pop their cooldowns here at some point and try to force F2K to just sit at the pillar so that Clyde can actually recover some of that lost mana, because he does not have long left in him before his team is inevitably going to lose because of that.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I mean, right now Tony is going to be pushing in. Let's see what he can get done. Clyde has no mana left. We're 7 minutes into the game. Mercy gets interrupted. Does have the unending resolve, but I don't know. I feel like Diabolus, they need to kind of focus up at this point of the game. They're just dropping, random spites out. It's not really getting any effectiveness whatsoever. I still feel like that's a solid win condition for them, but it hasn't been working out. And here we go. Spites once again going to be lobbed out onto Hydra. Full polymorph lands. This is exactly what you want to see. There is a Blessing of Protection on Gelu right now. You might be able to actually cast the damage, but he gets trapped on it. Really great denial there by Casu, but Hydra is just getting overwhelmed, and this is all you need. One good spite setup, and it looks like it is going to be good night for Hydra. Diabolus, they managed to pull it off. Right now, they're up 2-0 in this one. Switching to spites definitely worked out for them. But I have to say, I mean, F2K, I feel like they dealt with the spites really well, but that's the problem. If you mess up one time or, enough corruption procs on you, you can just instantly lose the game despite. So, Diabolus, I like what they did. I like that they changed up their strategy. It was risky. It almost didn't pay off, but they did walk away with the victory.
Yep, Diabolus now up 2-0. F2K really struggling to try to turn it around here. Let's hope they can pull it off. Maybe for game number 3. Here's the replay, Zico.
Yeah, and you can see that trap there onto Gelu trying to shut down the... But Mercy just gets the fear instead, and they finally do get the sheep. The Hammer of Justice, the Infernal Stuns, the Mortal Coil, and that is going to be
Hydra
good
trinket?
night.
I feel like Hydra made a big mistake there.
I think he triggered a poly.
Yep, he trinketed a poly into a full Hammer of Justice, though. Like, I think
I'm watching the
I don't know.
replay with a delay of the stream to see what he trinketed. So he got
I
feared
would
and
really like to
poly'd
see
and
that.
poly'd again. Infernal stun. He trinketed Infernal stun into a full hodge.
Yeah, I think that was a
That's what he
misplay.
did.
Would they have survived that setup from Diabolus if they didn't do that then?
I mean, it's impossible to say, but I feel like if he had trinketed the just a 6-second stun, it's pretty devastating. So I don't know. It's one of those things where you want to get out of the pools as quickly as you can, but I think at that point the damage had been done. So I think if you trinket the Hammer of Justice, maybe you could live, but it really is hard to say. I think it wasn't optimal in that situation.
Now, Diabolus on match point, best of 5 series. We saw Spy Trinket really come into play for game number 2 there. Super Tees, do we expect that to be different for game 3 here? Is F2K MyWay going to play with far less corruption? Is Diabolus maybe going to switch back off Spite? What do we think for game 3 here?
I think the Spite is good on small maps for the Mage Lock. It's just a really big threat that the jungle needs to consider the entire time. So play Spite again on the small map, and then when it's your probably drop it. But they went straight to Ashamains. I think F2K MyWay wants this to be over. So Diabolus should definitely not play Spite. Are they going to try some weird thing here? I mean, this would not be a good map to do what I was thinking. I would personally, if it was my team, probably why I'm not competing, but if it was my team, I would just put Gushing Wounds on, and I would play Diamond Ice, and I would get all the crowd, guaranteed 8 seconds crowd control, maxed out damage, and just try to win fast, at least for a game, because these long games where you need to play perfectly for 15 minutes and you're still not even guaranteed to win if you play perfectly for 15 minutes seems a lot more stressful than if potentially going all out on damage works.
How long are your games when you play Guardian, Sid?
Shorter than the jungle games into Mage Lock.
You know that there's some jungle team though watching from home being like, Super Tees said we need to go full gushing and run Diamond Eye. We're gonna do it. We'll see if it works for them. If they decide to run your strategy, F2K MyWay
They won't
though.
on this map. There's no way.
I meant for the team watching, Sid.
Oh,
if they're gonna take your advice, yeah. If anyone takes your advice, any jungle team.
I feel like jungle on the ladder
now.
does actually play gushing more than not. Maybe they have a
Yeah.
burst set for Rogue Mage, but I feel like on ladder jungle does actually play gushing more often than not.
All right. Well, we're going to Ashamain's Fall. Is this kind of the not something that we really expected, Zico? How do we feel like this is going to work out on the side of F2K MyWay? Do we like this choice?
I think they're just going to try to stay back, go to the deep end of the dampening, and, try to double dress somebody.
Okay.
I think they're going to do. So, I mean, the map works for that, but I think Diabolus, they can counter that by just like running on top of them and just playing, super aggressive like they have been.
Okay, game number 3 here. Diabolus on match point. Is F2K MyWay gonna turn it around, or are they gonna get swept 3-0?
Let's see what they decide to do. Gelu pushing in, going for an immediate Dragon's Breath polymorph. He finds it. Are they going to get the damage rolling onto Casu? Out some good burst, but Casu just quickly, I think he feigned death, so he uses Exhilaration, and he gets out of line of sight. Hydra actually trinketed as well, so I have to believe that Gelu and Mercy and Claude, they all committed their Obsidian Claws there. So I think it's easy for Hydra to just trinket claws, as that's going to be the most, kind of scary part of the matchup. Temporal Shield on Gelu. Gelu actually getting ran over right now. There's a nice Temporal Shield to keep himself alive. The top off his team, but a Cyclone. Good adaptation here from Tony Cat. Actually playing Cyclone to get additional crowd control out onto Clyde, and I like that they're at least mixing it up, and it's going to keep, hopefully keep Diabolus guessing.
Let's see if it does pay off for them here. Casu and Hydra are separated from Tony. I think Tony's trying to re-stealth. He goes in for a stun on Clyde, jumps back in on the wall. He's just immediately retreating. He doesn't want to be out in midfield. F2K MyWay have volunteered onto Ashamain's Fall, basically saying that, if we win on a small map, we're going to this map anyway, so let's just get it over with here and see if we can win on the big map. Cyclone has definitely been good at disrupting the damage of Diabolus, but aggressively we haven't seen it pay off. Oh no, a bash on diminishing return. They go for the freezing trap. They get this. Oh, they win the 50-50, forcing the trinket. Nice. Clutch freezing trap there. The RNG paid in their favor, and they can cycle on the sacrifice. at low health. The Cyclone's getting a lot of value here, and it tanks interrupts. It's definitely looking good in terms of an adaptation from F2K MyWay so far.
Yeah, Tony doing some work so far. He's going for another counter spell. Ooh, Inferno stun coming through, but Hydra with the pre-barrier. That is not the super barrier, though. That is just the regular baseline barrier with no honor talent. Tony going for another Cyclone, gets it onto Gelu. It looked like it was DR. They go for the freezing trap here, potentially. They get the stun. Can they get the trap? Casu lobs it out, but preemptive Blessing of Protection and Singe means that they are going to survive that with ease on the side of Diabolus, but they get a Blessing of Protection every time they go for these setups. They get something, and then they have the Cyclone to just kind of throw out when they're going out. It's like they upgraded their getaway card a little bit here. Tony looking to potentially get an aggressive Cyclone here, but Clyde does outrange it. Now Tony caught up in a fear, getting refeared, going for the Dragon's Breath into the Sheep. Tony interrupts it. Ring of Frost, not going to be hitting Hydra here. Casu going to walk into it, and Hydra is going to walk into its Premit, dispel Casu, and then get back into perfect position. Tony juggling these Cyclones. And now, let's see, Bash coming through. He's going to hard cast an Entangling Roots with the trap. He gets Blink Counterspell. Yellow almost eats the trap, but he doesn't need to because he locked that Entangling Roots, and that means the Singe is going to be 100%. Once again, F2K looking to retreat.
Yeah, and they will be just getting behind the pillar. This is kind of very standard for this matchup. You can't stay in the open and kind of tango with the Mage Lock Paladin. They just have too much crowd control, too much cast damage. You need the pillars to really assist you to avoid a lot of that damage. So let's see what they decide to do. They're going to be pushing in at some point, trying to strike and find some damage. Tony actually pushing in. It gets feared up. Another fear on a Tony. And now with that, looking for a Cyclone. It gets interrupted. Good denial there by Gelu. Full fear on Hydra. And they're trying to make a big setup here. Who are they going after? It looks like they are going to be going after Casu. Hydra doesn't even have to trade out his Trinket. Exhilaration comes from Casu. Full Polymorph lands. Hydra prims it into another Polymorph, but at this point, F2K MyWay, they managed to survive the setup with just the Exhilaration and a nice prem from Hydra. And now Diabolus are going to have to try to find... They're going to have to actually hold on until they have crowd control available back onto Hydra.
All right, they've got decent pressure right now onto two targets. These Cyclones have been great from Tony throughout. Another one onto Gelu at low health. If they can keep this going and get some crowd control on Clyde, they still need to worry about winning the 50-50. He's trying to switch the Cyclone over to Clyde. Tony going clone crazy. Oh, but he gets caught in midfield. Greater Pyro. They Scorpion Sting it, but they can just dispel Scorpion Sting. Double Mortal Coil by Mercy. He's intercepted by Casu. They stun Clyde. They're going for the freezing trap here. This needs to win on the dice roll. Looks like they don't win the dice roll. Regardless, though, on any resolve trades from Mercy, that's definitely a victory for F2K MyWay in terms of their objectives to get off the list from the defensives of Diabolus. Dark Soul Combustion available. Huge blast of damage on the Casu as he tries to get around the corner. Tony retreating with him. Beautiful Vitality Conduit timing by Hydra, pulling his team back from the brink there. Tony looking for more Cyclones so they can push out safely while the Mage is Cyclone and can't attack. Casu's moving to midfield. Bash, they need to win the 50-50 roll here. There's the freezing trap. Where's the root? They don't go for the entangling root. It's dispelled immediately. Double Ring of Frost to try and lock Casu and Tony in midfield. They immediately just charge through it, realizing they can't take time to be pinned down. Clyde is mounted up in midfield, looking for a Hammer of Justice. On diminishing return from the Shadow Fury, but they're looking to just hold them in midfield a little bit longer. The Scorpion Sting is just instantly getting dispelled. You can't tell me that Scorpion Sting is getting insane value. I swear, every time I see it, it's dispelled 1 millisecond later. Nice Cyclone on Clyde. Mercy Mortal Coils away. Tony, while his healer is crowd controlled, buying time and healing himself up. Hydra and Polymorph chain at the moment. Casu could be in trouble. He's trying to run around the corner again, but I feel like Casu is doing that very often in this match. 5.5 minutes into this game. Hydra's mana is looking healthy. There's the 50-50 roll. Clyde gets caught in the trap. The Singe wins the roll. And Gelu should not be in too much trouble as a result.
I do like that they're mixing it up a little bit, going for Gelu. He's running very low Versa here with a lot of haste, so going for those G-Pies right now. Clyde got caught up in a Cyclone. Gelu could be in trouble, but he's stacking up onto Mercy and Clyde, which means that the Dressed is not going to be doing too much work here, but now it might. You need to be careful. There's the motorbike from downtown, and Clyde does eat it there. Gelu with excellent positioning, avoiding that Trinket with that blink. Nicely done. Clyde's going to use that sacrifice, and now they're going to get right back on the aggressive here. Tony with his Cyclone is going to stop Gelu from that setup. Kicks Clyde actually. Big pressure onto Mercy. They have a stun for Clyde here. They get a freezing trap. Clyde, though, gets immediately singed into a Cyclone. Now, I don't think they have enough damage, though, sadly. Casu gets Mortal Coil there, and Gelu has found a Polymorph, but he is all by himself on that side of the map, and now Clyde's pushing in, looking for the Hammer of Justice. He gets it onto Casu. Do they have any reset? CC onto Hydra to get the fear, but he does sneak in a Dispel, a Vitality Conduit in between. Otherwise, that could have been his Trinket. Tony takes a huge Chaos Bolt to the face, and another one. He needs to be extremely careful here. Hydra pulling out miracles to heal here. Greater Pyros are flying in from the side as well. Tony finally getting a Cyclone to slow down the pressure, but he's going out again. Hydra needs to recover himself. He needs to recover Tony. He needs to recover basically his whole team.
They won the 50-50.
Gallo, they win the 50-50. Gallo might have to Ice Block here. He does. No, not even Carter is going to be triggered. Clyde's going to respond with the Blessing of Protection. Hydra should recover his team, and so should Clyde. Nice Cyclone there by Tony. He's going to force out Gallo's Trinket at the back end of things as well.
Yep. And that Blessing of Protection actually is going to reset the Mechanome Cauterize as well. It's one of the really nice things about a Paladin is when you use Blessing of Protection, it actually resets the 3-minute cooldown on the cheat death effect that Mechanomes have. So he does have that available for the next push. 16% dampening at this point of the game. Dragon's Breath has been initiated. Here is a crowd control. Hammer of Justice on Casu. Hydra forced to use his Trinket. Casu was in a world of trouble, and Hydra used his Trinket at a great time to dispel off the Hammer of Justice and allow Casu to survive. So that attempt is going to be stopped by Diabolus, but they've got a major objective, which is that Gladiator's Medallion from Hydra. Now, Maim stun onto Clyde into a full trap. Let's see if it sticks. Looks like it is going to be sticking, and Mercy is going to be taking quite a bit of damage. Yellow coming back to defend Clyde from any additional crowd control and just channeling out some greater Pyroblast. One is going to land, but you can bet when Diabolus have the diminishing returns available, they are going to push in for Dragon's Breath Sheep and do a full Hammer of Justice, and that's where they could potentially close out the game.
Oh, triple Dragon's Breath. Clyde's moving in. Polymorph onto Hydra. Stun onto Casu. This could be a huge hit of damage. Greater Pyro in the sky. Mortal Coil for follow-up. Insane setup from Diabolus. Triple Shadow Fury for follow-up. Pain Suppression. Aspect of the Turtle. Everything thrown out to stabilize here. And they're not going to have much left in the near future, but they do stay alive for now. I feel like Tony, why doesn't he not just Cyclone the Imp when they go for Freezing Trap? Huge hit of damage. Maybe they don't even need a trap? Are they just going to KO Mercy with nothing but damage? They knock him, trying to take him out here. Clyde bubbles to immune crowd control, but now he gets stunned up for a second. Into a full Cyclone on his Trinket. Beautiful punish by Tony. They just need a bit more damage here. Casu is reluctant to push out, though. Combustion is active. Casu jumps in. He lands the trap. Clyde gets dispelled out. They Cyclone Mercy at low health. If they could switch this Cyclone over, they could win. Tony's going for it. Clyde, oh, he's not actually trying to switch the clone. He gets interrupted anyways. Mind control's on Gello. Clyde's going to stay with Avenging Wrath. Avenging Wrath. Paladins coming in clutch right now in the meta. Mercy almost going down. Hydra and a Polymorph now, and there's nothing for Casto. He jumps over, interrupts the Pyro, disengages around the corner. Insane kiting from Casto. But now Tony was left out in midfield. He's rooted up. He Shadow Melts the Chaos Bolt. Bear forms the stun. Pre-walls the stun. He gets stunned again. Hydra's out of crowd control. Tony charges in, looks for Cyclones, trying to disrupt some of the pressure. Stuns the Greater Pyro. Looks for a Cyclone. Cyclone's Gello at low health. Casto is moving out into midfield. There's no cooldowns right now for Diabolus. If they can actually land crowd control on Clyde, they could close it out pretty soon here, but they're going after the Mage. Would like more damage on the Warlock at this point. They've still got Cauterize. That's literally, the Mage is the only one that won't die if they land crowd control at the moment. Double Mortal Coil into Fear. Nice setup. Casto is out midfield. Where's the hammer? Clyde's chasing him. Doesn't go for it. Trying to just recover at 31% dampening. Tony is really tearing in right now. There's the stun. Do they get the Entangling Root? Do they win the 50-50 here? No, they don't. Clyde just trinkets anyways and uses Sacrifice to redirect the damage to himself. Gelly's getting Greater Pyros out. Casso is retreating. I think F2K MyWay are in the position where they're like, we are actually able to win. What is happening? Like, they're trying to, like, readjust to the fact that they're cracking the defense and coming so close. If they can just keep it together a little bit longer.
It's a checkmate situation right now. If Clyde gets trapped and he doesn't freedom it and the Imp doesn't singe it, that's over. The game is literally over, and Tony knows it. He's going to go in here. Mercy, there's the stun. There's no freedom. They have the Entangling Roots. If Mercy can take this trap or avoid it, oh, that is big. Really big there for Diabolos. If Casu hits that trap, that could have been good night for Mercy. Now they're going to have to retreat once again, and every time one of these setup fails, well, guess what? The ineffable truth has a chance to proc. Nizov rolls the dice, and maybe, just maybe, Clyde will have his Avenging Wrath or his Sacrifice for that next attempt. Mercy is getting his Unending Resolve back, but it's going to take a while. 30 more seconds. They could do another setup before then. They still have an opening here on F2K MyWay. That next trap is still very, very deadly for them, but they need to pull the trigger pretty much right now. Mercy already has his trinket, so he could trinket Mortal Coil the setup, and I don't think that they even have a window anymore. F2K MyWay realizing that, they're going to pull back. Gelu is going to try to stop the drinks. Clyde is going to go back for a drink potentially, but now they're going to go back over onto Gelu here, trying to pressure him, but Clyde has his wings up. He tries to clone Gelu low HP. Clyde does freedom the trap, top Gelu, and he gets singed on the trap. Now if they stop the Cyclone, which they do with the Hammer of Justice and with Gelu's Dragon's Breath, they have stopped all crowd control from F2K MyWay, and now they can start pumping here on the side of the Mage Lock. And Hydra's mana is doing extremely bad right now, I would say.
Yeah, it's not doing great, that's for sure, but he has a lot of cooldowns he can hold on to, and we've seen Discipline Priest in the past with Rapture, Pain Suppression, Powered Barrier, Vitality Conduit. They can keep their team going for quite some time. 12 minutes have elapsed in this match. Gelu getting a full polymorph onto Casu, trying to just slow down the game, getting a Ring of Frost. Nice setup here by Gelu. One Greater Pyroblast going to land onto Casu. Hydra in the midfield, very susceptible to either being swapped to or getting crowd control, and it looks like they are just going to be going after Casu. Hydra uses the Life Grip to bring him to safety. Now Gelu with his Combustion will just be spamming out the Flame Strikes. Gets dodged by Hydra and Casu, but this game is becoming very unstable for both of these teams at 47% dampening. Diabolus up 2-0 right now. F2K MyWay, they definitely don't want to throw away this game. This is their last chance to stay in this series. One Greater Pyroblast going to land on Hydra. Two Greater Pyroblast going to land on Hydra. Can he ever recover? Three Greater Pyroblast going to land on Hydra, but he actually lives. And I'm sure Gelu can't believe it at this point in the game, but things are unraveling for F2K MyWay.
Oh, they win the 50-50. Mercy's interrupted. They need to turn it around. Clyde has Divine Shield. He's just using it on any resolve. Everybody is dying here at 50% dampening. There's no mana left really for either side, but Avenging Wrath is active. Clyde has insane healing with that. They're just throwing everything but the kitchen sink at Diabolus to try and push them away, but they will not be thwarted. Tony barely stabilizes. Shadow melts the Chaos Bully. His survival instincts on 1%. He's desperate. He's doing anything he can, but it's not enough. F2K MyWay tap out. Diabolus take victory, and they're definitely making that top four super competitive in Europe now.
Wow, what an incredible series. Diabolus, though, going home 3-0 against F2K MyWay, and I feel like that was really well fought by both teams. I mean, F2K MyWay throughout that whole game, Ben, was just putting out incredible pressure.
Yeah, I mean, they had a good performance, but, I mean, that's why we kind of say that Mage Lock is, slightly favored in this matchup. You just have so many immunity cooldowns you can rotate through, and as the jungle, you're kind of at the mercy of the ineffable truth. It's just there's so many cooldowns you have to work through, and eventually Hydra gets caught in crowd control, and there's just such a fine line for the jungle. They have to make these really difficult decisions. Do you push in and try to go for the win, or where you compromise your position and Hydra does get caught in crowd control? Or do you pull back? And at some point, you really just have to kind of go with your gut instinct. Unfortunately, they had a good push there on Mercy, but it was kind of too little too late. Really, really close game, though. Close series. But once again, really impressed by Diabolus, and even just the flexibility they showed in game number 2 by using the spites and stuff like that. This team is a true contender.
Yeah, and we talked about it quite a bit throughout the series, how, like Ben said, Mage Lock versus Jungle is always going to be a pretty difficult matchup on the side of the Jungle team. Supatis, given that information, how do we feel like F2K MyWay, though, did in that series?
I feel like they had better series, but again, it's like you have to play perfectly for 15 minutes every game. You're